Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are reaching us from. Welcome for this another Masterclass edition hosted by Birdie. I'm Pence, gonna be your host today. I'm one of the co-founders, work with the product team. And today with us, we have Shinet. She's gonna share a little bit on from product leadership to C-suite. So a lot of new things to learn in this career path. For those of you who doesn't know Birdie, Birdie is a feedback analytics platform for product teams. If you want to learn more, just visit us at birdie.ai. And that's it. Without further ado, let's go with her. Shinet, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
you.
Let me share my screen. And here we go. Wonderful. Okay, perfect. So thanks everybody. As Pant said, I'm going to be speaking today with you about product management to the C-suite. So really about how you can navigate the path to general management if that is of interest to you. And so I am currently the Vice President of Product Management at Cision. Cision is a PR communication software platform. I oversee a variety of teams. We own a number of different companies. So I oversee a platform and a company called BuzzSumo, as well as a new platform called Connectively. And then I also oversee the media management team. So that includes privacy, data quality, and user support. So it's quite an expanded remit. It goes a lot further than just my title of VP of Product Management. But I've had kind of a weird roundabout journey into this role. I started out early in my career as a founder, actually. I had no fear at the time. Now I would probably think twice again of that. But I founded two companies. One was a beauty brand, a skincare brand, and another was an influencer marketing and technology platform. I am grateful enough that I exited both companies. Started consulting for a few years and then moved into more formal product management at a company called Velasys, where I was responsible for building out the paid social and influencer media products from scratch. This was a totally new offering at the company. And then a few years later, I was recruited to Cision by our CPO and CTO to lead product for a new platform that they were wanting to build, which is what I said is named Connectively now. It's finally in market. But I then also ended up taking on a role that is more in a GM type of a role for BuzzSumo, as Pant said. I oversee the entire company. So I have the commercial teams reporting into me, the marketing teams, the product teams, and a dotted line to the engineers as well. So it's a really interesting and exciting position to be in. But what I love is that I think for those of you that are in product management or in engineering, it really provides us a great foundation for roles like, you know, a general manager and or a, you know, maybe you have your eyes set on the C-suite as well. So it's interesting that product management, as you all know, it's definitely a regarded and critical role that is, as you know, at the intersection of technology and business and user experience. And this role has really evolved beyond its initial boundaries. And so it helps shape professionals into really well-rounded leaders with a very, very diverse skill set. So as a product manager, you've probably honed in skills such as like market research, strategic planning, stakeholder engagement, and innovation. And all these skills are a really strong foundation to ascend into the C-suite and become a general manager. So what I wanted to do on our next slide is really just talk about what are some of those overlapping skills. So as a product manager to then moving into more of a general management role. So let's take a look at these. So the first one is strategic thinking and vision. In product management, you've probably crafted, product roadmaps that align to the company's objectives. But as a general manager, you're going to take that one step further because you're going to be defining and executing broader organizational strategies. But that strategic thinking and vision that you have is such a great foundation. There's also, as you're very familiar, cross-functional collaboration and leadership. As product managers, you're regularly collaborating with engineering teams, design teams, marketing, and sales. And in a general management position, you're fostering those cross collaborations across all those same departments, but at a higher level to achieve more holistic business goals. The next skill is data-driven decision-making. We as product managers use data to optimize either product features or to prioritize enhancements. And as a general manager, we leverage data analytics as well to inform high-level decisions that actually will impact now the entire organization. Next is customer-centric mindset. We have to, as product managers, deeply understand our consumer needs and incorporate that feedback into product development. And as general managers, we prioritize that customer satisfaction, but it goes across all company functions. So having that customer-centric mindset is a really, really key skill. And then last, there's the risk management and problem-solving skill. As product managers, we have to address product challenges and mitigate all those risks through, iterative development, etc. And as in a GM role, you navigate those complex challenges, but once again, challenges that affect the entire business, and you have to devise solutions to be able to address those. So having the skill of risk management and problem solving is really a great foundation as you look to move into more general management. So when we look at how product management really prepares you for the C-suite, one of the most remarkable aspects of transitioning from product into the C-suite is that seamless transfer of all the skills that lay the groundwork for effective executive leadership. So let's take a look at some of those. Number one, being able to balance long-term vision and short-term goals. So as a product manager, you've probably, as I said, you've been the architect of roadmaps that navigate the intricate balance between immediate product enhancements and long-term strategic vision. And this skill translates exceptionally well into the C-suite, where you can be orchestrating a really intricate dance between the short-term, financial goals that your company might have, and then the overarching vision that propels the entire organization forward. So your knack for being able to kind of align the tactical execution with strategic foresight is really an essential ingredient into guiding the company's growth trajectory. Next is managing complex stakeholder relationships. As we know, as product managers, that it really is requires mastering almost like the art of managing stakeholders with really diverse priorities, right? We're always pulled into multiple directions, and everybody's priority is the top priority. But as a product manager, you've probably skillfully learned how to engage with those engineers, designers, marketers, customers, sales, etc., and have been able to kind of align their expectations and be able to deliver value to them. So in the C-suite, this skill becomes pivotal as you navigate relationships with even a broader spectrum of stakeholders, because now in the C-suite, you are probably interacting with investors, board members, maybe regulatory bodies, and more. So your ability to synthesize their interests, to be able to drive consensus, and then communicate effectively is going to be a linchpin to leadership success. So if you can manage and learn how to manage complex stakeholder relationships now, it will set you up even more for the C-suite. P&L understanding and ownership. In full transparency, this was my weak point, and still one that I don't love. I have to engage with my financial leaders and partners, and it is a strength, it is a skill that you really, really need to pay attention to. You may not have P&L ownership at maybe the product owner level or the product manager level, maybe not until you start getting into director, senior director, or VP level. But it's really important to have an understanding of the financial aspects. We have it on, the financial aspects of our products, from the costs of what it takes to build a product to the revenue that it's going to produce, etc. But that financial acumen really needs to then directly translate where you need to have a more macroscopic view of the company's profit and loss. And so I highly encourage you to, really start to dig into numbers. If it's your weak point, like it was for me, take classes or really engage with your finance team and ask them to explain in detail what you're looking at when it comes to a P&L statement, a profit and loss statement. So another great way that product management prepares you for the C-suite is being able to navigate uncertainty and ambiguity. So with product management, it's often characterized as very dynamic but ambiguous in nature. And what you need to do is master the art of adapting to those shifting, it could be market landscapes, it could be changing customer needs, it could be evolving technologies, but your adaptability is really a cornerstone of executive leadership. Because once you move into that executive leadership position, you are going to be tasked with making decisions all the time in the face of uncertainty, and your ability to be able to stay composed, to analyze all the options in front of you, and to chart a course forward, even in the midst of ambiguity, is going to inspire confidence in your team and your stakeholders. So this is really, really an important, kind of skill or feature to be aware of. So if you are contemplating that transition into the C-suite, just recognize that your journey through product management has really empowered you in an array of skills that you can seamlessly dovetail into the broader kind of canvas of executive leadership. So take all of these elements that you have learned from product management to empower you to kind of rise to the challenge and opportunities that general management or C-suite opportunities you might face. So how do we develop the kind of general management or C-suite readiness? So one thing I want you to think about is broadening your horizons. So really try and seek out opportunities outside of core product management responsibilities. So that could be things like shadowing maybe other departments. As I had said, my weakness is finance. And so for me, partnering with the finance team and asking to sit in on certain meetings so I could hear, get used to the lingo, understand what they were talking about was really important. Maybe raising your hand for different special projects, getting involved in hackathons, things like that. But really broadening your horizon is very, very important. The next is going to be leadership development. So really make sure that you perform formal leadership training and mentorship opportunities. Seek them out within your own company. If you don't have those opportunities, seek them outside. Look and turn to LinkedIn, things like that. But definitely try and figure out ways how you can develop your leadership skills. Look at what is your path for managing people, things like that. Be vocal about that to your managers, raise your hands, but definitely try and look at ways that you can better your leadership skills. Next is going to be business acumen. Obviously, this comes right back to the same, almost with broadening horizons, in the sense of start to develop a deep understanding for the broader business functions. So that's why I was saying, for me, it was finance, but maybe it's operations for you. Maybe it's legal, maybe it's sales, maybe it's customer success, customer experience, but make sure that you start to develop a deeper understanding of those larger or different business functions that you may not interact with on a daily basis. The next is going to be communication excellence. This is critical. So for me, I always encourage my team members to be able to hone in on public speaking. Whether it's opportunities to speak in front of your own company, your team members, outside webinars, but communication is such an important skill when it comes to general management and C-suite. That maybe I would encourage you to take public speaking courses. There's Toastmasters, things like that. But if you want to move into those roles, you have to become really efficient at communication, both written, verbal, and then, obviously in nonverbal skills as well. It's important when it comes to negotiation. It's important that you have excellent communication skills when it comes to conflict resolution, and then how you communicate, obviously, as I said, to the larger stakeholders that you will be interacting with across departments. And then the other thing to keep in mind is really try and figure out ways that you can showcase the instances where your product management background has directly impacted the business and the business outcome. So that results demonstration is going to be really important. I oftentimes encourage my own teams, every department, jot down ways that you have had impact or metrics or things like that. But you then have to be able to articulate and be able to show those results in a cohesive manner. But you want to make sure that you are tracking those and the company is aware of your impact as well. Okay, now navigating that transition, right? So transitioning from product management to the C-suite really requires a strategic and deliberate actions that you should take. So what I want to do is just kind of explore the steps that you could take to successfully navigate this transition and position, if that's what you want to do, so that you can kind of move forward as confident and as capable as you can be. So one of the key things is your network building. So it's really important to build a robust network across various departments in your own company is very pivotal, and then outside as well. But start by actively engaging in colleagues in sales and marketing, customer experience, etc. Attend as many cross-functional meetings as you can. Speak up so people start to know who you are and what you think. Seek opportunities for collaboration, and then foster relationships that extend beyond your immediate department, right? And your immediate sphere. Remember that your network will not only be able to provide insights for you, but what is most important is that that network can also vouch for your capabilities as a general manager or in preparedness for the C-suite. You have to have advocates. So the larger your network, the broader you are, the higher chance that you will have people maybe mentioning your name in rooms that you're not in. So building your network is going to be very, very key as you're thinking about transitioning. I touched upon this before, but I'll reiterate it. Mentorship and sponsorship is really important. So what I would encourage you is to identify mentors and sponsors who have already made that successful, transition into general management or the C-suite. These individuals can provide valuable guidance for you. They can share about their own experiences and then obviously offer advice tailored to your journey or your industry, etc. And their support can really be instrumental in navigating these challenges and gaining perspective and accelerating your learning curve. The next is entrepreneurship. So same, this is almost like raising your hand, but it really will be able to demonstrate your leadership potential by taking on projects that require cross-functional collaboration and really innovative thinking. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can do that internally as an entrepreneur within the company. I suggest you propose initiatives that maybe align to the broader business goals. No, don't just think product. Maybe, propose something that's a little bit broader. That way it can showcase your ability to lead diverse teams towards like a common objective. It also allows you to highlight your strategic mindset and your capability to drive transformational change. So think about what are the entrepreneurship opportunities that you can create for yourself within your company. The other is going to be elevated responsibility. So expressing your eagerness to contribute beyond just your product-focused responsibility. So volunteer for leadership roles within company-wide initiatives. Maybe there's different task force that you could ask to be part of. That will really help. Maybe there's committees, ERGs within your organization. But that is going to be a way to be able to show your willingness to embrace broader responsibilities, for you to demonstrate that you're ready to tackle these multifaceted challenges, because those are all going to be really, really fundamental traits of effective general managers or CEOs, COOs, etc. So what I'd like to do also for a second is just give you a few, because I always think it's helpful to have an idea of real world people. So either product managers or engineers, I use those two interchangeably, who have turned out, and become CEOs. So some great examples that I think could maybe lend some great inspiration for you would be people like Satya Nadella. He's the Microsoft CEO. It's great. For those of you that weren't aware, he actually began his career at Microsoft as a program manager. And then he moved and transitioned from product management into leadership roles and focusing on cloud services and enterprise. And we obviously are well aware of his impact. Another person that I think is really inspirational is Barra. She's the General Motors CEO. And she, went and during her course of her career at GM, she managed engineering and product development. And then she obviously became CEO of General Motors as well. But I find her really inspiring. And then there's Arvind Krishna. He is the IBM CEO. So he actually began his career as a software engineer and then evolved into various leadership roles in cloud and cognitive software. But these are people that you could look at, maybe look at what their career path was, but really, really important to kind of have an idea of who's done it before. All right, so I'm just going to quickly touch upon some challenges that you might come up against and how to maybe, think about them, especially as you really want to start plotting and planning your way towards a general management or C-suite role. One of the things that you're going to have to do is shift your mindset. So moving from a specialized role to a more generalist role, that is going to be really, really important. The other thing is overcoming bias. Occasionally, there are biases about the scope of product management and engineering capabilities. So it's really going to be important for you to counter this perception by showcasing your cross-functional experience, your strategic thinking, and your leadership potential. So you really want to be able to communicate your intention and enthusiasm for taking on broader responsibilities and provide examples of how your skills align with the requirements. So really try and do what you can to overcome those biases. Next is skill augmentation. We've talked a lot about this. Really make sure that you are enhancing and building upon broader skills that are necessary for general management. So as I said, what I feel was some of my skills that lacked was in the financial department. So really had to up my ante there. And then last but not least is just being okay with uncertainty, embracing uncertainty, because as you step into any type of general management or C-suite role, you are going to be dealing with a way higher level of complexity and ambiguity. So you have to get comfortable with that. You have to know that there is going to be uncertainty, but it's really an opportunity for growth. So take all your skills that you've had as a foundation as a product manager to be able to kind of lay the foundations, so that then you can, as you then start to have to answer these questions or navigate this uncertainty, your prior skills of what you've had as a product manager will certainly be able to set you apart. So creating a path forward. So as you embark on this, desire or want for moving into a general manager or C-suite role, it's important that you create a clear roadmap. And I'm saying roadmap because we're so good as product managers on building roadmaps, right? So I kind of want you to think about it that way. So what you need to do is create very actionable steps that you can take to really maximize your opportunities and prepare you for these new roles. So the first one is always going to be continuous learning. Always be learning. This is important. So really commit to learning and to professional development. So you want to stay informed about industry, trends, emerging technologies, business acumen, as we talked about earlier. So attend workshops and webinars like this. Go to conferences to broaden your perspective, but you're going to have to always, this will never change. And actually, this is something you should be, thinking about with a career, no matter what, is always be learning. So continuous learning. I want you to volunteer for leadership opportunities. Seize every chance and opportunity where you can demonstrate your leadership skills. So volunteer where you can throughout your organization. Another one is personal branding. So it's important that you can kind of craft your own personal brand that really can showcase your transition from a product manager into a future general manager or C-suite candidate. So I encourage you to maybe leverage social media, such as LinkedIn, maybe contribute to thought leadership articles, look for public speaking opportunities, but any way that you can highlight your evolving skill set and maybe your unique perspective when it comes to leadership or your industry or whatever. But really, you've got to start building your own personal brand as well. The next is relationship building. I can't tell you how important it is to continuously network and build upon your network and relationships, both within your organization and outside of your organization, because it's going to expand your reach in areas and opportunities for different roles. But most importantly, it's going to increase your visibility. And the more that people, the relationships that you have, as I mentioned earlier, the more that they can kind of raise their hands if they feel like you would be a good fit for an opportunity that may not even lie within your own organization. So building and expanding your network is going to be a really, really important part of your roadmap on this path. And then last but not least is going to be adaptability. You need to have adaptability as a core trait to your skill set. So because the C-suite really demands adaptability. It is a pivotal skill to have, because you have to be able to adapt to market shifts, to organizational changes, to unforeseeable challenges, things like that. I mean, COVID, think about that, right? The leaders that had the most kind of skill set in adaptability and fluidity were the ones that survived. So it's really important that you hone in on that experience. You're already doing it with the ever-changing product management, landscape, but you have to build upon that and continuously be aware that adaptability is a very, very core strength. I hope that this is, these kind of, points have been helpful, and that, just understand that the path to the C-suite is dynamic. It's a very dynamic journey, and it requires and demands continuous growth and a very, very proactive approach. And by committing to learning and embracing different, leadership roles and building your personal brand, et cetera, you're really going to be able to create a strong trajectory toward the goal of becoming a general manager or moving into C-suite. So remember that every step you take now will contribute to your future success as a leader in any organization. So I wanted to say thank you for your time. And Pants, I don't know if there are any questions from the audience. I'm happy to chat.
Hey, hi. Yes, first of all, that was amazing. Thank you for all the useful and clear information to help us learn how to navigate this complex path. We have a couple of questions. We are at the top of the hour. I chose one of them, and I want to let everyone knows that all of the other questions, if you don't get the response here right now, we'll make sure Sinead and her point of view reaches you even after we finish this session. But I want to come with this one. That is not necessarily a question, but a comment. So someone considering all the cross-functional, cross-department collaboration, something you mentioned about acknowledging your weaknesses, and then ask for partnership with other teams. And then someone came with this consideration that probably in larger enterprises, this is more clear, but at a startup environment. Probably the one person it's taking multiple of these jobs. So how does this change depending on the size of the organization?
Yes, I mean, then you have to kind of take a look at what is most important for your career and what is your timeline. Number one, there are so many great skills that you can learn in a startup, period, right? Yeah. Because you do generally have exposure to more departments because you're smaller. So you could use that as one way to learn for a certain period of time. If you want to move into a C-suite role at a larger organization, you're going to have to leave the startup world and go get a job in a larger organization where there's more structure, more clear departments, there's actual career path and proper career path and trajectories that you can then skill up that way. So I think you have to look at it from both angles. What am I learning now in a startup environment? What can I still get exposure to and ask for in a startup environment? And then what can't a startup environment provide that a large company would provide? And then at what point do you take that and say, all right, I've done what I've needed and learned what I have at a startup. When is the chance and the opportunity to go to a larger scale company to be able to learn the additional skills that I need? Or there's always going to be the opportunity to learn on your own. Udemy, Coursera, things like that. Joining, like even your company, look at your company, right? You're providing webinars across a variety of topics for free. It's an amazing thing. So seek out those opportunities as well.
an amazing time to be learning, an amazing opportunity to share and have this time to learn with you. Again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for everyone's attention. I hope this was as useful for you as it has been for me. And I think we get with that.
Yes,
See you
thank
on
you
the
so
next
much
one.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.